comics, explosions, fireworks, man stuff. I just got away from what we were just talking about. That's all.
It's setting it up. It's done. All right. We're live.
All right.
Live?
It's weird not seeing the chat come up on the side.
Well, this
All
is
right.
why you just open up YouTube on your second monitor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Clay. I'm not rich enough to have two
And,
monitors.
Yeah, I'm not a baller. I'm not that kind
Let
of baller.
me bring this up
Poor
right
student
here.
right now.
I think it sent a second computer from a job that I then quit.
How's everybody's weekend been?
Well,
Kidding,
let
by
me
the way.
first intro this at this point. At that, because we're so rehearsed in this one. Well, welcome to the very first Geek Ultimate Alliance monthly meetup crossover. I don't know. We're still working on a name at this point, but
Don't let me name it. I'll have some alliteration that no one will like.
Yeah. So
I just took a long time to figure out a new name of the show. So yeah, it can be frustrating trying to name things.
exactly. So, but yeah, so this is what we're, we put out that survey a few months back and, got a very positive response that this would be something that not just the patrons, but also you listeners
Some of
would
y'all
like to
got
have.
very positive responses.
What's that?
I said some of y'all got really positive responses.
Well, I'm talking about for this. I'm talking about for this thing.
This was a request. This was a
All
request.
right, so
I think.
since
Anyway.
we're starting out hot, let's go. Let's
So-
get right into it. Come on.
So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. If you want to know all these shows that, and some of us host up, check out the show notes below and you'll find the whole schedule down there. And if you want to be part of our lovely Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/ I think it's GUA Network.
Is it
yes,
GUA
is
Pod
it-
Network or is it
GUA
GUA
GUA Pod Network. There we go. We're really professional on this place. So
It'll get better. It's
it'll
the
get
first-
better.
first
It'll get
installment.
better. It'll get more polished. But
Really?
but yeah, so we might have some patrons because I think Mr. Snell is going to be putting it to the patrons at that point. So we'll
That's
have to
you,
watch
okay.
the invites at that point. So, but if you'd like to be a part of this at our monthly meetups at that point, that'll be a phase 2. So again, $1 tier is our tip jar, but the $5 tier gets you access to this join up at Ponce of lovely exclusive from across us 4 people right now.
So
I know that was
S-Bubs just said, I definitely mentioned crossovers like 5 times on the survey. So
Okay.
This is an S-Bubs creation, man. I wonder how many surveys S-Bubs had created and took as man of the chair to get this going on.
I will say I did ask the question to you guys before the survey when Geekverse was doing an After 9, and I was like,
Mhm,
"Hey,
you
would
did.
y'all be willing?"
You did
to do
pitch
this?
a
Yeah,
potential
yeah.
After 9 idea to us, but not. You didn't call it After 9. I don't think there was
No.
like,
I just said, would y'all want to do like a monthly meetup? Because there's no way, like we would do something like that of like the vodka stream doing it every week, or
oh god, no, I wouldn't be able to keep
even
that
after
up.
9. I think it's what, twice a month or something like that.
Plus
Seems
after
pretty
9, I'm
frequent
going to
on my
bed.
YouTube.
So I'm an old man. I get up at 4 o'clock. in the
Could be
morning.
after 9 a.m. too, Joe. It has happened. It's come up on my
Ooh.
streams very early. I'm like, what? That's not 9 p.m. But
Technicality.
Well, anyways, gentlemen, so what would you all like to talk about right now?
ooh, I want to ask you guys because I haven't watched it yet. How is Andor? Should I dive into that? I really like Rogue One. I just haven't had the time with school right now and trying to watch the things that you have to watch for a podcast.
Like I've been watching it along with, of course, Star Wars Alliance every week and whatnot. But like, I have seen very odd reactions to Andor on my timeline as a whole. Not necessarily from us,
Okay.
but it's very odd. People didn't like the beginning. They're kind of getting into the last few episodes, and there's 4 more to go.
What was this
Well,
episode? 6 or 7?
I think this was episode 8.
Okay, then yeah,
Ooh.
9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah.
It's not like your typical kind of, it's a slow burn. I mean, even Rogue One wasn't as much of a slow burn as this is.
But it wasn't your typical Star Wars. It was for me as a Star Wars noob. That was something completely I didn't expect. I don't even think I watched the trailer going into Rogue One, and I was aligned for the ride. I was like, cool. This is something that isn't Jedi's and Sith related.
Well, it's probably a good thing you didn't watch the trailer because majority of the trailer was not in the movie because the
Okay.
company that made the trailer had different footage, and then they changed it up before Rogue One came out. So,
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
mhm.
Yeah.
I've been liking it. It's been enjoyable. I know after the first 3 episodes dropped, some of the criticisms people had that it wasn't a lot of action. It was going too slow, but the way myself and Emily has kind of pieced it together, they're like 3-episode arcs. Like the first 3 episodes are contained, the next 3 are contained, and it's usually setup, action, setup, action. And so if we're on episode 8, the next episode will be action. We've had 2 setup episodes. The next one will be action. So
That was
I'm
pretty cool format.
looking forward to it so far. I've had a blast with it. It's been wonderful.
I think I enjoyed the second action episode, like what was it called? The Eye. I think the episode was called.
That was pretty good.
Was that the heist one?
Yes.
Okay.
Really enjoyed
Those
that
was
episode,
nice.
and I really enjoyed the last episode. There was a special ongoing cameo, I guess you could say.
Don't get
Technically
too
a return.
don't get too excited.
No, I was gonna say
It's the
would I
return of an
know
important character, Chris.
would I know the character?
No,
Yeah,
Yeah, you
not
would.
he would. I want to set his hopes, like level his hopes about
Oh,
how
I can
returning.
be I can be I can be happy about pretty much the minorest of things.
There we
so.
go. So
It's funny when that episode came out was the same week that the finale of season 1 of Rings of Power came out.
Okay.
And so this episode was called The Eye, and I believe Rings of Power had something to do with an eye of Sauron.
It was the exact same title.
Was it the eye as well? Okay.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy on both episodes.
So I'm just like, okay. That's
And
interesting.
and I haven't watched Rings of Power. That's going to be one of those that I like Lord of the Rings, but it's not one of those like ones that like Star Wars or Star Trek for me, or
Yeah,
Marvel or DC.
House of
Emily and
Dragon,
I-
same thing. I haven't watched House of Dragon or
I haven't watched House of
Power.
Dragon either. And I'm not going to just yet. I might now that season 1
I
is
don't
done,
know if I can put myself through it. I really can't after watching all of Game of Thrones.
which is
and-
fair
Also, real quick, guys, I'm gonna step off here.
Okay.
because of baby.
The child is okay.
Yep.
I'm going to put her down on this pillow. I'm not neglecting her.
Liar.
Just so
Well, she's
that
falling
way,
asleep.
people
Now this is
watching
broadcast to like everyone.
Yeah.
He's got to
Well,
hit that clear.
I
Somebody
gotta make this
somebody
clear.
calls the cops.
Abby went grocery shopping. She needs help getting the groceries. I'm gonna set her
Fair.
down. I have a buffer so that way she doesn't fall off the couch.
We'll watch
You know,
out for her.
Yeah,
Exactly.
what are we gonna do?
Exactly. All right.
I thought I could
Bring her
text
back.
Clay
Three,
when
three
she's
minute
ready to
baby.
roll.
3 minute baby.
Jeez.
Come on.
But no,
that's
Rings
good.
of Power. I like it because Emily and I would watch it. We didn't watch it day of. I tried to watch it at work with that first Friday it came out, and I just couldn't see anything. I actually had to pay attention to what was going on, especially that first episode. So Emily and I, we decided we're gonna watch that one together. We watched it. Usually that first weekend is when we try to watch it, and then if we,
Okay.
for whatever reason, can't, then it's like, all right, cool. Then we'll watch it on our own if we have to. But we usually we're able to watch it together. And that was another show people were complaining about. Their complaints were asinine, but they were complaining.
Oh, everyone
um,
complains about everything these days.
Exactly. So, but I thought it was
please
a wonderful
everyone.
show.
Would be
I thought-
fandom without it.
Exactly. Well,
Uh,
but here's the thing: like Star Trek fans I don't see them complain.
We do.
Well, yes, okay, but is it like more civil than?
No.
Okay, never mind.
No.
Then.
On the game
No.
says that there's great writing by Bo Willman. Looking forward to his 3-episode run. Hell of a writer's room with Stephen Schiff, the Americans, and the Gilroy brothers. Is that for Andor?
Must be.
Or is that for Rings of Power? I assume it's for Andor.
Well, Andor's, Rings of Power is done. If he's looking forward to a to an
Yeah,
arc
that
coming
has to
up,
be
it's
Andor.
got to be
Especially
Andor.
when you guys talk about the 3-episode chunks. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out. I definitely am. Things will probably die down around Christmas time, and I'll probably consume that. And probably Rings of Power. I'm not sure about House of Dragon. I just don't have it in me. I have to ask you guys because it's close. It's in a couple days. I know Joe is kind of forcefully. Chris,
Forcefully.
will you be watching Titans season 4, or at least starting it?
Wait a minute. When does it come out? Because obviously
November 1st.
November 3rd.
November 3rd, sorry. First week of November.
probably, but I mean, it's not going to be the first thing I watch. It'll be more of those oh yeah, that's on. Yeah, I'm gonna watch The Offer. I'm gonna continue watching The Offer, or I've got Doctor Who. I've got other.
Yeah, how's Doctor Who been going for you? Where are you at right now?
I've finished season 1 and I'm about 2 or 3 episodes into season 2.
Mhm.
It's just one of those where I'm like, I want to watch it. I just know like right now I'm in the middle of The Offer. The Offer has an endpoint. Like I've got 3 more episodes of that. So that's like I can wrap that up and go back to Doctor Who. It's not that Doctor Who's not keeping my interest. It's just I'm a Godfather fan before I was ever in the last few months a Doctor Who fan. But no, I've enjoyed it. It's again, I appreciate how campy and quote unquote bad the CG or the
I mean,
but it's part of the charm of the show. Like that doesn't detract me from it. I'm actually where it was with the actor's first name for who was the doctor when the restart. What's that?
Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, Eccleston. Like I actually enjoyed his character grew on me right around about the midpoint of that first season of the reboot, and when it became David Tennant taking over, it was like, oh, okay, so I've heard and my dabbling with friends that have been Doctor Who fans, so I kind of know this process, and I really like Rose as the companion right now. I know there's going to be many other companions along the way that would probably, from what I hear, outrank Rose in popularity and things like that. But she became very quickly less annoying and more as that first season went on. Like the character of her really grew on me. So I think she's got a lot of agency than being the quote unquote damsel in distress that it started as.
Yeah, it was one of those. I'm right there with you. Like when Eccleston started out, and I didn't actually start watching until Tennant had already taken over. Oh, okay. So I had gone back, watched all of Eccleston, really enjoyed his take on it. When Tennant showed up, I loved him from the get-go. When Matt Smith showed up, loved him from the get-go. When Peter Capaldi showed up, I had a tough time. Mm-hmm. And maybe it could have been because I had loved Tennant and Smith so much that it was one of those things where like I couldn't give him up just yet. So while the companion from Smith carried over to Capaldi, it helped the story along. It helped me like get my bearings with it. But then she left and they brought in a new one. And it took me like by the time I think it was like at least a season in by the time I was okay with Capaldi. Oh, and then they switched to Whitaker and Capaldi did 3 seasons. Then they switched to Whitaker and I gave it a shot and I'm like, I can't do this right now. Like I'm just, it's not because I want to finish out Whitaker because she also did 3 seasons. And then with what's going on now.
How many seasons is the total for Doctor Who? Like, I don't think I can ever even
15 or 16. Someone's going to get me wrong. I mean, I'm the one who should be speaking.
I mean, it's a lot, especially with the reboot. If you add in the originals, which I've seen.
I was going to say, are we counting classic Who also?
No, everything. That's the whole thing. Everything. Ooh, you're good. Well, that's 60.
Well, the first Doctor, the black and white Doctor, in actuality, started out as an educational show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez.
But as it evolved, it turned into like this weird sci-fi adventure thing. Like think of it almost like Wishbone, in a sense.
I love Wishbone.
There was like story, but it was also like educational, like Saturday morning cartoon type of thing. But I believe Oh gosh. So if you're
There's if I'm just did the quick Google of it, 26 seasons from
I was
19
gonna say I
20
think there was
63 to 89, one TV film, and then 13 seasons, 2005 to present.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I could probably catch the 2005 to present, and
And that's what everybody has jumped onto.
okay,
Like I started out
Classic Who is really hard to find.
okay.
anymore.
Now
YouTube.
Yeah.
well, because the thing is, Netflix had a majority of them, and
Amazon
then
Prime
also
had majority of it for a while too.
well,
This
then
was
all of a sudden,
years ago.
I don't know if there was some kind of lawsuit or what have you, but like one day Netflix was like, "Yeah, no more Classic Who," and they completely got rid of it, and people were upset because there was no explanation.
Netflix Canada probably never had it. It's the way it goes here.
Well, like the really cool,
But the
really
other thing
cool
is-
oh, well, go ahead, Joe.
Well, no, you go ahead, Clay, because I'm gonna.
Well, I was gonna say the really cool thing about how Netflix was doing their releases, because that's how I got introduced to Doctor Who, is I watched Matt Smith's first season live with a friend, and then he's like, "You need to catch up so you can understand some of these references." And so I caught up on Eccleston, I caught up on David Tennant, and then I think in the time between Matt Smith and Capaldi, a random 2 episodes popped up out of nowhere in the middle of David Tennant's run on Netflix. And they're like, "Hey, these are 2 episodes that never made it to their air date, but they were completed, so here you go." Or something like that. Now, I don't know if you knew this, Joe, but the 8th Doctor didn't have a series. He only had a movie.
He just had the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, he just had the movie.
But he did show up in the 50th anniversary. Yeah.
50th anniversary.
And if I'm correct, he also showed up just in the last episode, the season finale of this most.
I need to
current
catch
season.
up. I need to catch up. But
Because from the
I've
sounds
met
of it,
the
the sounds of it,
Doctor
it was
in
he
person,
showed up,
so
and
that
then
was
like
really cool.
4 other ones showed up as they were like transitioning through to back to Tenet. So
Oh, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
So there'll be the new one, the newest one who has not yet come out, will be the 16th Doctor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Chris, you got appropriate.
Yeah, it's right
poster up
because
over your shoulder.
Tenet is like 3 doctors, and you got
Yes
the War
and
Doctor.
no.
No, it is because he's 10th, and then he's 10th again or technically he's kind of the
Been
11th.
cloned.
And
He had his hand. His hand
right.
got chopped off, and he whatever.
I guess in principle, then there are only 14 official Doctors. In principle,
That's hard. That's hard to say. Also,
yeah,
because of I know I'm not gonna spoil too much because I know this was all over Twitter when it happened.
I personally have seen it, but it's not going to have any effect on me.
Well,
so.
not only
I
that,
don't
but
care.
like in Whitaker's first
Like you can
season,
spoil me.
in Whitaker's first season, they showed that there was another Doctor that nobody knew about.
Mm-hmm.
So
but that's no different than John Hurt being the War Doctor that everybody forgot about.
exactly.
Well, that the other
So,
doctors forgot about.
Like
It wasn't, and I read that quote unquote War Doctor was supposed to be Eccleston. That the idea was that it was supposed to be Eccleston, but he basically
it was
has
originally
sworn off of-
supposed to be, and then they changed the story to where he is the regeneration before.
yeah,
And
right. Well,
then
after the War Doctor. Yeah.
And then at the very end of that 50th anniversary, he's regenerating, and you can kind of see a silhouette that is supposed to be
Eccleston. Yeah, it's really cool how they did it.
Yeah, from all the stuff I read, like he's not coming
Not a
back anytime
fan.
soon. No,
Doesn't surprise me. He seems to be one of those guys that I'm not saying he does things for a paycheck, but he's
Well,
like,
supposedly he had some issues with onset treatment of people and wasn't necessarily caring for it, and this, that, and the other, and that's one of the reasons he left.
I also
supposedly.
was told, and this was told by a friend, so I don't know where he actually heard it. He was ultimately just a placeholder when he became 9.
Mhm.
Like they wanted Eccleston because he had some
was a
linkage to a previous one.
Yeah.
But he at the time, not I said Eccleston, they wanted Tennant because he had linkage to a previous one. But he was currently doing Harry Potter, so he couldn't get away from that to be 9, but they were already going forward, and so that's why they got Eccleston. Again, I don't think that's true. The friend that told me is about 70 to 30, like bullshit to sometimes true. So
Still
I don't know.
positive ratio.
Better than Grace Randolph.
Okay, so speaking of now,
Oh, God.
Travis and I, we've both did our talk on Black Adam.
Mhm.
You both have seen Black Adam,
Yes.
so you guys want to give your thoughts? I know Clay's probably chopping at the bits to
Chris, you want to
tell
go
how much
first?
he hated it.
I walked into Black Adam not expecting anything but like I get The Rock on screen, I get some good action set pieces, and I finally get to see the JSA on screen. You know, just I went in with like call those the lowest of low expectations at that point, even before the reviews came out, and it was okay. You know, I enjoyed seeing the JSA. I have it is a messy plot at points. With Black Adam trying to decide which one he's going to be. The man out of time thing, I think it just became hokey and at it kind of got old to me at one point, but it was okay. You know, it's definitely not the worst DCU movie I've ever seen of live action. It's definitely nowhere near the best. And on my list, it's number 8 for me out of 12.
Same.
And I have
Same.
and I have Justice League at the
I don't
very
have
bottom.
Justice League.
I have
Same.
Justice League. I have Justice League at the bottom. It exists at that point, but I just put it there.
It was made. Yep.
And I just leave it there to quote it as the worst.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. Since this is phase 1 of the new DC universe.
He said it. Is not, Clay's not wrong. The Rock said that at least 3 times, 3 separate answers on Press Tour. So,
should we technically make another list on Letterboxd and this be the first entry?
Not yet, because
we got to see more first. Plans don't exactly consistently.
Travis is like, it can't be number 1 on my list. That's the only reason why.
If things are being honored, if things are still existing, if people are still existing, I think we have to wait at the very least to Flash and Aquaman to kind of see where we're at the end of this.
Maybe change the title. Maybe change the title of your Letterboxd rankings instead of DCEU to DCU. Maybe, I don't know. That's kind of
yeah, because wasn't I talking about how Joker and the Batman would technically be the DC extended universe?
Yeah.
Honestly, until
makes sense.
until what the new heads say, yeah, this is phase 1. No, this is just DCEU. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, The Rock didn't know who Bloodsport was, so I'm not going to hold everything that he says trying to hype up a movie.
You can say he can say all day that this is phase 1 of DC universe. Like, no, until like
James Gunn and
until they say this is phase 1. This is not phase 1.
So On the Game says an aggressively okay superhero movie. Espuff says number 8 for me as well. Espuff says Wonder Woman 84 is genuinely worse than Justice League 2017 for me. It's dead last.
It's last on my list, but I don't have Justice League in there, so I feel it just frustrates me, that film, because the first 5 minutes are amazing.
Black Adam is number 8 for me as well.
Yeah, that's what the gist has been. Everybody's kind of got it in the middle. They enjoyed it.
It's in the middle, but it's not an exciting middle.
Yeah,
you're not right. The films behind it are not great.
I will say this. Starting with Black Adam, everything below it, I will not be watching again. Everything before Black Adam, I could watch for a second, third, fourth, fifth time.
What's your 9? What's your 9 then? Because I'm not sure. But Birds of Prey is my 9. I don't know what falls into the not watching.
All right, so
it
here's my
anymore category.
rankings from
All right.
1 to 12. This is my ranking: Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Justice League, BVS, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, The Suicide Squad, Black Adam, Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey,
Okay.
Wonder Woman 84, and Justice League.
Birds of Prey fell in there. I thought so.
So-
I wasn't sure.
All right, Joe, do you got your list?
I do actually.
Okay, go for it.
BVS, Man of Steel, Peacemaker, because I threw Peacemaker in there because it's part of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
The Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Black Adam, Birds of Prey, Shazam, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 84, and 2017 Justice League. And I'll be honest, I'll watch all these again. Well, let me.
I don't
rephrase
think
that.
I'll watch.
I'll watch all these.
Willingly?
I've never
twice.
watched 84 again since I reviewed it. I've never watched it
Okay,
again.
you said I was gonna say you're
No,
never
but
gonna
see,
watch
here's
it
the
again
thing.
because we're going to watch it
You
again.
two
Oh, yeah.
have made the choice to say, "Hey, we're going to watch all these movies." I wouldn't even do that.
Justice League is the only one I
for the
will not
patrons,
watch
Clay.
willingly. The
for the
2017 is the only one I will not watch willingly, but I have to watch it for the DC films through the years and for rundown reviews.
Hmm.
But
you're like,
the
I'm only
thing.
watching it once.
Here's the thing: we're at no point am I going to. Will those two line up for that movie? I'm hoping they line up for Catwoman because I don't want to rewatch that.
I realized.
But again,
I realized
I have
that.
to.
I
Like,
think I would Oh well, no. Hold
Yeah,
on.
don't
I
say
don't want to
no,
lie
no,
to
no,
myself. I don't want to lie to myself.
Don't forget the basketball scene, Clay. Don't forget the basketball scene.
Chris,
Well,
what's your
because
ranking?
here's the
once they
genuine
stop
thing.
talking?
Oh well, go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I wanna hear
Go ahead
Chris's
and tell
rankings.
yours.
Okay, so my rankings, and again, since Letterboxd doesn't do,
Shows.
it does some shows, but since they know
Oh.
Peacemaker has a season 2, it's not on there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So mine is Zack Snyder's Justice League, BVS Ultimate Edition, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, The Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, Shazam, Black Adam, and my 9 is Aquaman, 10 is Studio Squad, 11 is Wonder Woman 84, and then Justice League is 12.
I love how Wonder Woman is universally everyone's 4th movie. Like nearly everybody's 4th movie.
Well, and it's my 6th one, but it's after the Zack Snyder stuff for a lot of people.
We got the same top 5, Chris, just in a little bit of a different order in terms of the films.
Yeah.
I really love Suicide Squad too when that came out. I'm so excited for what's to come for some of these films too. So I just hope that they keep going. With Chris's poster up there in the back behind, I am
Which
to your the main one, the main guy. With him back and now him dropping Witcher, that's something I want to ask. Has any of you any of you watching Witcher? Are you disappointed? I know there was.
I'm not watching it anymore.
The showrunners wasn't respecting the books, and Henry Cavill wasn't too happy about that. Did you think this would happen? And are you okay with this as a cast for more Superman?
My problem, I'm fine if, again, Superman, Witcher at that point. I mean, Cavill did a lot of stuff when he was having the suit in the closet. He needed to differentiate himself. So if he was waiting to be Superman, Witcher, Mission Impossible, Man from U.N.C.L.E., all those different things. He eventually, and he's got another movie, Enola Holmes. So if they wanted to wait to have him available, I would have thought that could have been an option. However, 2 things could have been at play. One, Netflix wanting to keep consistent with the release schedule at that point. And 2, whatever is still being worked out with Henry for Superman plus whatever is going to be added on, that could also be the unknown that, he's feeling more comfortable with that. I'm a little, so when people say, oh, they should have just waited, I don't know if they could have on either side at that point, but I think I'm more surprised that there was no public search and it's just Liam Hemsworth. I think that's what I'm more surprised about than anything else. Like, it's not just like he's leaving. It's just, we've already got our new Geralt.
have they, Chris? My question to you before I get Clay's feedback on this as well is: have they already known about this for at least a month or more? Like, have
Oh,
they
I'm
done
sure.
have they done a search behind the scenes, that not a public search but a private search? And if that's the case, then the ball at Superman is probably rolling faster than what we think.
I mean, any studio worth a lick at this point, and I think Netflix is, I consider, pretty high up there at that point. You just don't like put out a call 48 hours after finding out, you know. I think this has been slightly in the works. So my next question is, who else was on that short list?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get revealed at some point in time, but
I hope so. So that way I can completely roast Netflix
Oh,
for
Jesus
this.
Poor
Christ.
Liam Hemsworth don't have a chance here. Like,
Look,
Did you
I-
see the photoshopped photo that I posted in the chat last night?
photoshopped. That's it. Photoshopped.
Yeah, Photoshop.
Look,
Even
okay,
still,
look.
even still.
Clay, that was a good job. That was a good Photoshop.
But here's
The fact that they went with Liam, yeah, it's a bummer. Henry's out. It just
Sorry,
Liam is
God.
not. He's not the same as Cavill. Like we all know this, but I'm still gonna give the show a chance. Like I'm not gonna just drop it because oh no, they changed actors. That's a terrible idea. If I had done that, I wouldn't have been watched most of the MCU. Like it's just actors change. It happens.
It just seems
Will
like
the story be different? Yeah, it's not gonna be the same.
It seems like he's the only one that was pushing back because the writers' room were openly saying we don't like the books, and
Well, yeah,
that-
like
I'm
Henry
afraid
leaving,
for the big fans of what it could be. Not only like that would be extra rough for Liam Hemsworth if not only did they deviate crazily from the books and did their own thing,
But
that
how-
he's trying to replace Henry Cavill as well. That would be like a double
But I
whammy.
say,
of-
how well does Liam know the books? Like we know Cavill's a fan
he
of The
he
Witcher. Like
said in his statement that he's a fan of the character. So
he's a
can
fan
only
of the video
assume-
game.
I can only assume that he knows it from something.
The video
Whether
game,
that's
probably,
from
which
the
is
books, the
completely
video
different
games,
than the books.
whatever. I can't make that assumption.
Well-
What I can see is visually Henry and then visually Liam, and I'm like, damn, what a downgrade. Like
It's one of those things that he's not going to be able, like, he knows, like, it's walking into whoever eventually is going to take over to be Wolverine when Hugh Jackman leaves the role. Like, you have amazingly huge shoes to fill, like whoever was going to be cast. Just because, again, even though it's just 2 seasons, Henry Cavill has helped build this universe of The Witcher to now animated and live action spinoffs that are in the making because of it. So that is a lot of pressure. Again, he's not an idiot. I don't think so, in the sense where he wouldn't, like, it will rest on Liam Hemsworth's shoulders. I will give it a shot just because, again, I like the series. I have not watched some of the animated stuff yet, but again, I'm going to give it a shot because I'll always use this as an example. I remember how many people were jumping off and saying, oh my God, Heath Ledger's going to be the Joker. God, this can't be. But I understand those that are saying, like, when you compare Henry Cavill to Liam Hemsworth, yeah, it's night and day right now with what we've seen and whatever we've seen. I'm at least going to give it a shot just to see exactly and give it more than just one episode because, again, I'm just going to try.
Well, it's all going to be there anyway. It's Netflix,
Yeah.
unless they,
Yeah.
at some point in the future, which I hope they do, change it to the weekly. But it's just, I don't know.
Here's the question though. So we knew and we know season 4 and 5 are going to be filming back to back.
3 and 4.
No, they've already filmed.
Have they already filmed 3?
Three is done.
Yeah, 3 is done.
Okay.
That's going to be next summer. 4 and 5 are going to be filmed back to back.
Okay.
And I it's Netflix, so I doubt this will happen. But if there is a huge downpour of negativity, not just because, hey, Henry's not there, but actual criticism and hey, this season isn't doing great. Do they throw out season 5 or is it canceled?
Netflix isn't above canceling shows. So
that, Chris. Netflix is not scared.
But this is a universe that they are building within this. So it's a lot harder than just canceling I'll just use it, a House of Cards or Grace and Frankie. It's there's a lot more writing on The Witcher than just the singular franchise.
You could
So
turn this
S-Bubs-
character. You could turn this character into a James Bond, where you have like different people picking up the mantle, and even for different seasons.
It's funny that you
different
say
season
that,
5,
Heinz,
different season
because
6.
it's funny that you say that because it was so like randomly thrown out there when Chris posted the screenshot in the chat. When I read it, I didn't read Liam Hemsworth at first. I read Liam Neeson, and I was like, "Damn, they're aging him up. That's gonna be wild." And then I read it, and I was like, "Oh no, that's so much worse."
I just like when I put
the other idea.
I literally take that screenshot from Instagram and I get questioned by like everyone. Is that's
Well,
like,
and
we
it-
have to be proved. It's like, I took it literally from
When-
this post.
Say everyone.
when Clay
you
looked
took it
on,
from your
on
Mac.
Instagram,
You
was
took
like,
the
"Oh,
screenshot
it's
from your
real."
MacBook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was framed differently from a phone, which
Yes, true.
a lot of people would be normally like familiar with.
Mhm.
So I
It was
knew
just
that.
funny.
So I was like, let me go double check, and I'll screenshot it myself.
The thing
Oh
is,
my
like,
God,
I'm in
it's
the middle
folks.
of mowing when all this is going off, and I take
read
my
the
break.
read the question in the chat, Heinz.
Go ahead.
Would you rather have gotten, S-Bub says, would you rather have gotten Liam Hemsworth as Superman in the post-credit scene of Black Adam?
That's bait, and I'm not taking it.
So I
know that
post-
just
I posted
Shazam.
this
This-
exact thing because
This is
viewer Anon had posted it, and it was like a survey, like a question, or you answer the out of like 3 questions or whatever, and they were like, would you A, laugh, B, burn WB to the ground,
Yeah.
or C, A,
And then
then B after? And I think I would have had to done both. Jesus Christ. Like, did anybody else notice? Because I think I may have mentioned this to you, Joe. I know I've mentioned it on my review for Batman News Weekly, but in the after credits of Black Adam, that silhouette stood there way longer than it needed to be.
I mean,
Like, did
before
you
he
notice-
came into frame? Before he came into frame?
No. Like, the silhouette, I feel like, was CGI'd.
I'm gonna have to
Well,
look at that again.
I
to see
think I
that.
feel like we talked about it on DC Alliance, Travis. That
Like, it was
they had actually-
like
they
right
had-
next to the camera, and it stood there for a while.
Well, they filmed both of these separate too, so that it
Hmm.
could very well be a possibility of that being the case. Clay, I didn't notice the silhouette. Did we talk about the silhouette or just the scene in
I
general?
think we just talked about the scene.
Yeah, it did look a little like different, but the Black Adam part looked fine to me. It looked like he was in the throne. The Superman stuff, you could tell it's a little like he's not in the same area as him, even though
Yeah.
we're trying to show that. But I got like
But it did its purpose.
yeah.
The test audience liked it. Obviously, it's moved forward to being this big thing. So
I would have
And
been
we
so
almost had
annoyed.
another headless Superman.
I would have
game.
been so annoyed with that because that did annoy me in Shazam. Like I really enjoyed Shazam. That was a great movie. But that did annoy me the first time I watched Shazam after like I got excited first. I was like, oh my God, Henry's back. Superman, you saw his costume and then it was now no head. Oh,
well,
that
now they have to
frustrated me.
retroactively go back and fix it.
Well, that'd be nice, Joe. I'd be support that. David Sandberg, get out of edit for that.
A hovering Henry head, a la Mark Ruffalo and a Hulkbuster. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about
Jesus
that.
Anyone that's a fan of Scrubs, they did this bit several times where he did floating head doctor, and that's what I want to see for Superman. Put Superman's floating head going by into Shazam. Shazam Z.
Again,
I mean, they did it to The Rock earlier in the movie.
Mhm.
I spoke to Joe about how weird I thought it looked. His CGI
It did look good.
body on his head. It will look like
It looked slightly better than the end
Captain
of
America.
Mummy 2 with him.
I will say I don't
Yeah.
think it looked better than the Captain America one, just because Rock is so much like in his character is so outrageously muscular in the movie. It looks so weird seeing his head on a even normal sized man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It just threw me off. It was so weird.
Yeah, it was definitely. I think that was more off-putting to me, just in the sense of like I knew I was expecting it, but I knew I wasn't gonna probably. I was more being expected to be disappointed just because again I've gotten used to even Rock in his younger wrestling days was still a built individual.
Yeah, he was
Yes.
smaller, but not that small.
But
No,
he,
no.
like, it was so weird because in the flashback scene when you see like this silhouette of a person talking to this kid, I leaned over to my friend and I was like, that's Black Adam. And he's like, what? I was like, that's Black Adam. And then we just kept watching the movie, and then it went back to the exact same scene, but then you actually see him. I was like, ooh, I really hoped I was wrong. That looks weird.
It did look
Yeah,
weird.
but
It
if
did
you
look
watch
weird.
the trailers, you already knew. Like it was all over the trailers saying, "Oh, my son died, and I got retribution," or whatever the heck he says. So it's like if you knew the story, if you knew any sort of background, you knew what was going to happen.
Well, it's just especially when he's floating there staring at the statue. He's not I mean, at that point, I was just like, "Well, you're not gonna you're narcissist, but you're not that big of a narcissist to stare at yourself and say, you know." I'm just
Clay
saying,
was thinking it when he was watching it.
the way he was looking at it, I was like, "Yeah, that's you. That's not you."
He doesn't get any credit, Clay, for fighting for Superman for 6 years. Not even a little tiny bit. Not saying no is absolutely astonishing that Superman was just like, yeah, we're not going to use him. You just sit there, guy.
I'm still not going to give it to The Rock. Everybody else will, and that's fine. I just think that, like,
I give it to $7. I give it to $7. I don't give it just to Rock because
I give it to Rock and Kevin Hart because we know Kevin Hart was a part of it.
Now you're just thinking about it.
Oh, I've already said because The Rock wants Kevin Hart and he wants Idris Elba in the DCEU because he doesn't know that Idris Elba is not in the DCEU for some reason. Yeah, he had an interview saying, "Oh yeah, I would really like."
You can make a mistake from time to time. You know, when you do 500 interviews for a movie.
Yeah, but I've already said if Kevin Hart is in the DC universe, then I will have seen a better franchise in Vin Diesel's Bloodshot.
Clay with these absolutes, these long.
Yeah, there's no way for me to move after these. What happens if Kevin Hart's in the DCU and he gets killed? He plays actual Kevin Hart and he dies. Would that be cool? To actually see Black Adam just.
I have to still see him in a movie though.
You see him die in a movie playing himself. I'm trying to give you a best scenario here. It's still like a hard no.
It's a hard no. It's a really hard no. But I want to know because I'm reading back at Joe's reaction when we talked about Black Adam. Because the very first thing I told him was the needle drops in the entire movie. I think I hated every single one.
You're not getting much of an argument from me. I'd rather focus on how awesome Dr. Fate was. Because
Dr. Fate was amazing.
Amazing. I don't think there was a scene that I didn't think he was fantastic the entire time he was in the movie. He stole every scene he was in.
It for a split second, it kind of irked me when Hawkman used the helmet in a way that the helmet is not supposed to be used, or shouldn't work like that. It like for a split second, I was like, the helmet doesn't work like that. And I was like, creative liberties, whatever.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm a Dr. Fate fan. I'm a huge JSA fan. And I was like, all right, this is where we're going to change it. I'm fine. Whatever.
See, I just took it as Naboo being like, all right, cool. I'm going to let you use me this way because my friend just died.
And I'm Lord of Order.
But,
so
yeah.
Naboo was never really mentioned, or the mythos of Dr. Fate was not mentioned.
Well,
yeah, you'll probably get it the next time you see Dr. Fate when the new person put that helmet.
Especially when Cyclone said it was like an alien. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. We're alien in the sense of what do you mean alien? Because I mean, we can go back. I can go point to history in the sense of like a lot of things that they try to put in Egyptian times, like alien visitors and things like that. So it's not like a too big of a stretch, but we're not necessarily. If we're doing comic origin in Naboo, yeah, that has nothing to do with aliens.
As Spub says, the soundtrack was definitely just stolen from the Rock's workout playlist.
Probably. But yeah, you're right on that. Like they didn't need some of those songs, but it is what it is.
It was still, like I said, I had an enjoyable time. Hawkman looked cool as well. Even Atom Smasher. Cyclone worked the least for me just because I thought we saw like the comedic bits from Atom Smasher with Hawkman worked for me. I thought they were funny. So like
I
those three
think the
characters.
first
were
one
more
was
the-
funny. I didn't like. I feel like to send it home, they should have done one more, but like one more as in like the final talk. Like that joke needed a conclusion, but they never.
I understand what you're saying.
You
there
know?
when they said you and
You
me
wanted to- you wanted to
later.
see you and
you
me,
wanted
yeah.
the later. You wanted the
Like
later.
even if it was like, hey, and like Adam Smasher was like, oh shit, this is it. Like this is it. I'm getting fired from the JSA. Like that moment would have been good, but without it, I feel like
I was expecting that to be like the post-credit scene. I thought I was half expecting that to be, because I usually don't look up in the credits outside of like knowing at that point. I would have looked up saying if it has 2 post-credits, that's what I would have expected as the second
Yeah.
post-credits,
It would've
that
been a good one.
discussion.
Yeah, like it's not key to plot or anything, but it does tie in that multiple times you use that joke. It does tie that in at the very end. I agree with that.
talk about multiple jokes. The door, Jesus.
I'm sorry, but I like Pierce Brosnan's sense of humor and the dry wit throughout the whole thing. Is like,
Mhm.
he's
What
not
was that
wrong.
sarcasm?
When he is going back and forth, like teleporting with the helmet as Hawkman and Black Adam are fighting, I was laughing the entire time. It was one of my favorite scenes. And like I said, Hawkman was, while I didn't understand his logic, I thought like he like looked cool and his action scenes were great. But when him and Dr. Fate approach Black Adam at the first time, they say surrender or die. And then for the rest of the movie, Hawkman's like, "Don't kill people. It's bad.
Heroes don't kill people, except for
And then
Superman
and
Wonder Woman,
I think was
and Batman.
You literally just said to the guy, "Surrender, or I'm going to kill you."
I was like, that. I mean, that's pure Hawkman in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, he got that on the head at that point, but it was just like, yeah.
Then you keep going back to it, like heroes are heroes. Heroes don't kill people. Dude, you were going to kill him at the start of the film. Like we all remembered it. We heard the line.
It's a super villain, so you get away with it.
Yeah.
And I will say this, and then I'll talk some more positives. Hines, we were talking about this way before when RPK made the comparisons. This was not Dragon Ball Z fighting.
No, I will say it was more akin to Man of Steel. Like it was similar to Man of Steel. It didn't do anything better than Man of Steel did, which is not a great thing. But Man of Steel still from 2013 to now is still just as good as anything I've seen CGI wise.
Yes,
but I will agree they kind of
they overhyped a little bit of the
If
action
you would have just
scenes.
said Man of Steel, I would have been fine.
Wait, but you're saying The Rock and other people overhyped his own movie?
Yeah. Well, did you guys notice the scene where Hawkman grabs the 2 intergang guys and goes into the apartment building, and then The Rock goes up, does the whole like, oh, I'm only going to kill one of you, drops them, and then Hawkman saves them and brings them back to the apartment. They use the exact same scene. They use the exact same footage of him bringing them back into the apartment. Like same shot and everything.
Money saving, cost cutting.
Yeah, Rick and Morty talking about that.
Maybe after a second viewing. I'm glad I didn't take a second viewing yet then.
Well, and that was really it. I will be completely honest. I've been seeing if I can find it in the back of a truck, because there was rumors of the scene with Waller, where you see the affiliates of who she works with or whatever. There was rumors of the last one. It said United something, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's clearly United States."
I think there was a better view of that in a trailer, Clay, like one of the last trailers that Amanda Waller talked.
I was looking for it, and I couldn't find it.
Check heavy spoilers or new rock stars. One of them broke down the trailer, and I think they did like identify the 3 different department or affiliations, like Justice League, Justice Society, and there was a third one that
Justice League United.
Justice League United.
It's a thing.
Oh, not. I don't know if they're that deep into it yet when they're fighting for get Superman in the end.
That's a very interesting comment on the game. Says that Kanye needle drop. Oh boy. Now, I don't want to get too much into this just because I think it's stupid.
Don't support Kanye and get us canceled, please.
No, I'm not going to support
Okay,
Kanye. I've
okay,
never
okay.
supported Kanye. I've
Okay.
never supported Kanye in his entire career.
Oh, I'm just
The thing that got me about Kanye was the one award ceremony when he went up on stage and
With Taylor
completely
Swift.
derailed Taylor Swift's thing. And I'm like, you're a dick. The fuck?
Well,
Okay.
no, it's just like with everything that's happened with Kanye, do you think that there's a different edit of this movie with a different song there?
No.
No, I mean Bill Murray was lifting the Ant-Man and Quantumania trailer, and you could have had time to take that out as well. I just think that the general audience don't care like at all. But like my parents don't know anything. They just saw a poster of Black Adam and went there. They got their money. It wasn't successful. Neither of them. Mom fell asleep, and
They got a good nap in.
But yeah, mom did at least. But, and Dad didn't even get to stay for the credit scene.
I was gonna switch up gears unless you guys have anything else to talk about.
Yeah, I'm good.
So Black Panther's coming out in the week. Well, 2 weeks. Who's all seeing it Thursday night?
Thursday afternoon, 3:00.
Especially after the last time, I should say Thursday.
Not gonna be able to watch it till Friday morning.
Ooh. It's gonna be for me that Thursday at 3 p.m.
Joe, are you going to get on social media, on Twitter and Facebook, and like scroll through and then see somebody say Black Panther was awesome, and then complain saying, "How did you spoil this? How did I get spoiled? This is so stupid." Oh, I hate social media.
And maybe it's because I don't have the same algorithms as a lot of you guys, and I don't follow a lot of the trades like that.
Goopers. Yeah.
I don't ever get spoiled. Like, and even after I've seen
That's probably
the movie,
why.
Yeah.
Like I see the movie Thursday night, and now I'm all over Twitter, and I'd never see anybody talking about it. Next morning, never see anybody talking about it. So,
I just
I'll risk it.
Think it's funny when people complain about getting spoiled when
But see, I never complain.
Get on social media. I just
a lot of it is, and Chris says this numerous times. You take the risk into your own hands. If you don't like, if you're willingly, knowingly, somebody's gonna say something.
But again, I understand that people in our business and other people, like, they can't stay off of it. Yes, I can't necessarily say, well, you bring it onto yourself. It's like, I get some people's frustrations that they can't help it because they have to be on there. And, it's that one term or one person you forgot to mute, and it ruins it. Yeah. I mean, I feel for those people. I feel for people, and I accept the risk. My mute game is up. So far I've been pretty good at not seeing anything that I think is spoiler for Black Panther. So
we got a good question here too from On the Game. That's not in spoilers. Is any chance of it being the first movie's 202 million domestic opening? And I'm going to be honest with you, the responses for people's thoughts, I haven't seen a negative one. Actually, I've seen one from that outrageous, stupid Superman guy, and that could not make me more excited to see this film.
Well, what did he say?
Everybody completely roasted him. Yeah. It's so hilarious.
He's on a tour of getting roasted, like the getting carried into theater.
I've been seeing everybody roast him on TikTok as well. So Joe, what he basically said was that the first one was better in multiple capacity. I can't remember like exact details of everything. But basically, like,
go figure. It's like he knew we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Like basically, he was Soups was saying that like this one was overhyped. The first one was better.
You lost me at Soups. I'm out.
Yeah, that's exactly how we went. That's exactly how we went.
Okay, so just somebody just running them out to try and be different, to try and get clicks. Gotcha.
That's exactly what he's been starting to do, and I've noticed it a lot.
Brent Almgame asked if Black Panther 2 could do better than the first one for its opening weekend of 202. That's what he asked in the chat, and we were just considering it. And I don't know. That's an awful high number to hit.
Could it do better than that? Sure. I agree. That is a high number to hit, and
I hope it does.
This sounds morbid, but there's going to be a lot of curiosity about that movie, about what they do with it because of the lack of Boseman. So, frankly, I would not be the least bit surprised if it actually did that.
It's one of those things that I'm still seeing a lot of kind of when the first one was coming out, you're seeing a lot of like fundraising, things like that taking a lot. It is still going to be a cultural.
It's an important movie.
It is
Yeah.
in so many different ways. So I think, could it? Yes. Will it? I think it has a very strong potential to do it in the first weekend. It really does. And I don't even know what happens. What's Avatar doesn't come out for another month at that point.
Yeah, middle of December.
Yeah.
end of
So
December,
I mean,
something like that.
I don't know. I don't know what else is standing in its way to have strong legs either.
I think this is
Knives
going
Out.
to do gangbusters. I really
Knives
do.
Out is only there for a week.
I know.
I think
I'm
it is
excited
going
for
to
that,
be
too.
multiple week, 3 to 4 weeks at number one. I don't think anything new coming in is going to take its thunder. And like Brent said, there is definitely curiosity for how they're going to do this. Even though we've seen stuff in trailers, like I was talking about Black Adam, the general audience, no. They do know about what happened with Chadwick Boseman, but it's going to be. I'm going to be super interested to see it. I can't wait to see it because
As Subs asks, do you think it'll hit $1 billion?
don't
Did the first
I?
one? First one did hit Bill.
The first one is until Spider-Man No Way Home was like the highest solo movie ever at 1.3 billion, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this one's hitting $1 billion as well. I really do. Especially with the positive word of mouth from the critics. I really think that'll flow people to keep going it for multiple weeks.
Brent, I know they've already put this out there. I just can't remember it. I know it's over 2 hours. I think it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes, like the second or third longest since Infinity
So I
War.
just looked at my
it's longer than
ticket
Infinity War.
time.
Yeah.
I looked at my ticket time. It says 3 p.m. to 5:56 p.m. So almost 3 hours.
And I believe it's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes of that, Clay, is probably your standard theater ads.
15 minutes? Just 15
They're
minutes?
30.
All? Shoot.
Mine was 18 minutes before Black Adam.
I'm moving to Canada then because it's normally 25, 30.
And Nicole Kidman. No Nicole Kidman. I've never seen that ad.
I don't get Nicole Kidman. I get what's her name? Maria Menounos.
Yep. Yeah, we go see Regal.
Regal. Yep.
But
I don't go to AMC.
All
Cineplex
of that stuff
never
happens.
tells anybody to go watch.
That all happens also. It's just then they run the trailers and then Nicole Kidman. And
Nicole Kidman comes after the trailers.
Well, yeah, you gotta get.
Pretty sure
it's no different than us getting the Regal Unlimited Pass stuff.
It's just like HBO Max advertising the Titans to me when I click on the Titans to watch. Infuriating.
Classic CWC moves there.
From what I've heard about it, I never to use it, but
I'm gonna hold back just because Brent and I will be talking our predictions for Black Panther on this week's MA, so I'm not gonna say too much more.
Speaking of Brent, when are you seeing it? Are you seeing it Thursday night or are you seeing it Friday?
Yes.
Okay.
What kind of question is that?
Asking.
Without going too deep into it, can it hit $1 billion? I'm going to say yes, especially if lots of theaters are doing what mine is and they have showings as early as 9:45 on that Friday. When normally I haven't seen a showing before noon. I don't even think I saw showings before noon for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Remember, it's also Veterans Day weekend, so that's also going to play a big factor into it.
I got that Friday off, so that's why I'm able to go see it during the day.
I took that Friday off because I had other reasons to take it off in the morning. And then on top of that, I was going to have to be at work late that day and I was going to leave early to go to the movie. So I'm like, well, screw it. I'm not going in at all day.
I think I'm watching it, of course, on Thursday, but me and Abby will watch it the week of Thanksgiving. Like, I think 2 days before Thanksgiving, we'll go see it. Yeah. But
that's my Knives Out time.
Knives Out comes out that week, and
that's what I'm gonna watch.
We're not
also gonna go see the.
That'll be a game day decision because we got to double check that there's no family requirements and crap like that. But
I'm also gonna go try and see that Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell movie.
Oh, the Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's coming out the same week.
It's
coming out the 11th in theaters for a week.
Year?
Yeah, it's gonna be on Apple TV Plus. I think in December, but it's going to be in theaters the week of November 11th.
And I'll wait to see it on Apple TV Plus.
So exactly. I don't have Apple TV Plus, so
well, you should. You can get it for free, super easy. But dirt cheap. My wife doesn't like Will Ferrell, so I will probably be on my own for that one.
I mean, it's
probably Apple TV it.
Yes, it's a Christmas Christmas Carol just with singing,
I mean,
Interesting.
you had me at Ryan Reynolds, so
right?
But I know that we only have about like 40 minutes left in this conversation, and I do want to ask you guys. I know that Travis and Joe will talk about this later tomorrow, but we got some big news last week. The gun news. So my question is, clearly with the Henry news this yesterday, clearly that is being pushed quicker than we had assumed, as far as like taking their time doing everything else. It looks like they're trying to really push for instead of 2025, 2024. So with Gunn now on the creative side of pushing a lot of these movies at DC Studios now, what capacity will Gunn be in outside of just finding the right creatives? Like, will he be a creative on that movie as well, is my question to you guys. And then what movie will be the first one to say a James Gunn film other than the Suicide Squad?
you mean to say produced by James Gunn?
Yeah.
Other than Suicide Squad, I mean, well, Wonder Woman 3 at this point, we'll say it. Shazam.
But do we think Wonder Woman 3 is going to be out before?
If there are any reshoots after he becomes DC Studios head, does his name go on there as a producer
for Wonder Woman 3?
For any film? Like, let's say that it hasn't been out yet. Like, let's say Shazam.
It might, but okay. So you're thinking Shazam, Aquaman, Flash.
Like, if he has to do reshoots, will his name be on producer?
Someone would have to look up the guild rules on that one for the PGA before. I don't feel comfortable.
Just trying to check us on. Just trying to cover us under a technicality of him being in one of the films that are already.
Let's
done.
Let's take that technicality off then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say it'll be the Flash is the last one currently, right?
Yeah. Aquaman.
So yeah,
it was Aquaman.
Is Aquaman? Yeah, Aquaman.
Yeah, it's because it's Shazam, Flash, and Aquaman in December.
So I would say anything after Aquaman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who knows? Maybe not Blue Beetle.
Like completely a new star because Blue Beetle will come out even after that.
Yeah, like so Blue Beetle. No, after that, who knows? Probably.
It's also possibly no to Joker 2 and whatever the Batman 2 is, because it sounds like the Todd Phillips stuff is not under Gunn's purview, which I find weird. Nope. And last thing I read was that the Matt Reeves Batman stuff was up in the air, like it wasn't definitively known yet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Under his, so if we leave out Matt Reeves and Todd Phillips, I mean, at this point, it's really nothing we know about. Like it's going to be,
and that's what I mean. Like, do y'all have any guesses on like
whatever this Green Lantern
DC Studios might
Green Lantern show?
Oh yeah, we're banking on that coming out.
I don't think it's going to be Man of Steel 2.
Yeah.
You don't think Gunn's name is going to be on Man of Steel 2?
No, I don't think the name of it is going to be Man of Steel 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Man of Tomorrow. I mean,
next Superman
frankly,
film.
I hope it is not Man of Steel 2. But
I genuinely think that it's just going to be Superman.
No, I don't think it'll be Superman.
They've never done it.
That'd be
There's
cool.
never been one called Superman.
Yeah.
The other one's Superman the movie. I know.
I think it would. I think it would work well for a supposed soft reboot.
I don't know if it's tossing around that R word anymore. You've been tossing you toss around that R word for several months, and I don't know if they're going to reboot much. To be honest with you, like I don't know what they're.
A soft reboot is not necessarily like washing everything away. It's basically, hey, we're going to take the things that people enjoy and use that, but change everything else. You
described it as, and for comic model, New 52. Like they rebooted everything except Batman and Green Lantern, and that really just ruined their it ruined everything.
It ruined their story.
Because it just like, how can you have a Batman
that's
connected to everything and not have it connected? Yeah, that was a whole mess.
Yeah, you can't take half measures on that.
It worked out eventually.
Yeah, and I think the way I know we're saying like we're still iffy on if the Batman universe under Reeves is going to fall under DC Studios. I think the way that Reeves came back the second time around and structured his deal and what he has his hands involved in, I would be very surprised if not saying that he would be opposed to having Gunn be over it, but I just don't see. I think that's under where the Joker is, under the.
I don't think
other
Gunn
two.
wants to be like, if he can manage his own universe, I think Gunn would be okay with Reeves. And same thing with Todd Phillips. If you're going to do some more of these like DC Black Label type things, like obscure characters, I don't think he's going to have a problem with it if you don't want to fit that into the greater DCU. I think it's a good thing to have a little subsection there, because you can still pull in different filmmakers and maybe you can get them to work on a DC EU film down the line. It all depends. I just think you had a lot of ill will and like hurt your reputation with the Batgirl stuff. So bring in a creator, like a director, to run your DC film studios. I think that can't do anything but help the way that DC looks for directors at the moment, because you can't think they're all lining up to go film it after what happened to the Batgirl directors, where they filmed the entire movie and then it got thrown in the can.
Yeah.
So I do think this helps a lot for that.
To me, it doesn't make any sense for the Batman or Joker, honestly, to not be under Safran and Gunn, because they're supposed to be the heads of DC Studios. So why would there be a DC project that they're not a part of? That said, that doesn't mean that I would not be surprised if for both of those we see Gunn's name and Safran's name listed as producers. In fact, I'd be more surprised if we don't. The question is, how hands-on is Gunn going to be? And as somebody who clearly liked working for Marvel, loved working for Marvel, I mean, you don't do 3 full movies plus a special if it's going poorly. He's going to take the lessons he learned from that, but he's also going to take the lessons he learned that he didn't like, times when they were then Feige was in the editing bay or whatever. He could easily just produce the Batman, but be mostly hands off unless Matt Reeves asks him to step in for something. Hey, we're having a problem with this. Can you help us out with this in your role as a producer? I doubt Matt Reeves is going to go to him for creative problems. Maybe he would, but he's still going to most likely be on those movies as producers. I genuinely think at this point it's Blue Beetle, Flash, Aquaman. Those are the ones he probably won't be. Shazam, because they're pretty much locked anyway or close to it. Like they're deep in production.
They give him out a lot of credit for Aquaman. That's was
fun.
The same thing. He was brought in November and it came out in December. So
was he a producer on that one?
I'm not 100% sure, but I've read in several articles hits Aquaman and Joker, and both of those were, like I said, that's the only problem I can see. Some of this is if it went the way Brent's talking about, if it was ran the way Brent's talking about before, Joker would never have been made, because the guy running the decisions did not see how you could make it, did not understand, and did not want it to be made. So you had to go around his head to get that made. So I feel like I understand what Brent's saying though. Gunn can understand that stuff a lot better.
Yeah.
Going around his head to get it made. They did that with Joker. They went around Hamada's head to get it made. I thought it was just that he did not want Todd Phillips. I've read the whole article. Todd Phillips, he said he couldn't understand it or see it, so he went. Okay, so I thought it was a case of him just, farming out the funds for it, the funding for it, and that was his issue. But if you really think about it, like, we're all happy that Henry Cavill's back, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact that people are going around the head of DC is kind of also a problem. So hopefully that is done, because just because we like the result doesn't mean that should be the norm. And now you're telling me it's happened 2 times. That's actually not good. Like, it would have been better if Hamada had just said, yes, bring back Henry Cavill.
Well, the strategy was not good in the strategy of having Superman on the shelf for 6 years was not smart either. Bring him in headless and stuff. Sure. So I think that at a certain point, if you're The Rock and you've been asking Hamada for 5 years, can I put Superman in? What are you doing with Superman? I would get frustrated enough that I would go over top at a certain point.
Sure, but that's just a sign that they didn't have trust in that DC head. These movies were being made, and like, you're ruining this property. You're the reason why people don't like this stuff anymore.
I really hope that we don't hear any stories of people going around.
That's what I don't want. That's what I'm afraid of.
That's the big problem that I have now.
That's what I'm afraid of too.
Right now, there is a culture that it's okay to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up as well. So with The Rock thinking that he's the greatest thing that's come to WB and this earth, like, is he just going to go to Zaslav with everything that he wants to do now because he was able to do it with this
Well,
whole Henry thing?
It depends on how much latitude Gunn gives him.
Yeah.
Also, maybe Gunn's more on board with him than what Hamada was.
He said in multiple interviews that he's excited to work with the new head of DC Studios. When they find it, they asked him multiple times, "Did you want to be that?" He always said no. I just like to work with that person in some capacity.
But that's what I mean, though. But like the one thing that The Rock asked that Gunn is not okay with is The Rock just going to be like, "Oh, it's okay. I just go to Daddy's ass."
That'll be the first big test.
Well, he went to DeLuca and Abdi, not Zaslav.
Because
I've
right now
read two different articles that say that he went to Abney, and then another one said that he went to Zaz. So I'm not.
So I
entirely
read-
Either
sure.
way, he didn't get he didn't get the answer he wanted from Hamada, and he went
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
That'll
look,
be the
let's-
test.
let's-
Is it just a
let's
Hamada
put that-
thing, or is it the position thing?
Let's put that in context. He didn't get the answer after asking for 5-6 years in different meetings. Like, it's just not like he went first meeting and Hamada said no, and he went and said, "I'm going."
No,
a
it
bomb."
goes. It
He
goes
took
into
a lot of
Rock's.
time.
It just feeds into the Rock's ego that he went there one time. Hamada said no. He's like, "Oh well, screw you. I'm gonna do it this way."
Yeah.
I mean,
Joe.
I like Black Adam. I like The Rock. There is something to be said for like, this question has been answered already. Why are we still having this discussion? We're wasting time on it. As someone who is happy Henry Cavill is back, hopefully with totally new creatives behind the camera, that I'm back with him. I'm happy with him being back. But I do think the way it got there was messy. That said, it's WB. What about it isn't messy? Has legitimately any of it not been messy since Christopher Nolan? I don't think so.
I mean, it was messy before that too, but
There
Not
fun
as
times with Wonder
bad.
Woman. Fun times with Aquaman.
mm-hmm.
Then they burned those. Any goodwill.
Love it.
I mean, Brent's not wrong though.
No,
But
he's
that's
not.
why I said. That's why I said there's been 2 moments after 2 films that were successful. And we got the articles. Did Wonder Woman save the DCU? Did Aquaman save
Damn.
the DCU?
I never
So-
saw any Shazam saving the DCU articles though, so I'm not.
Well,
No, because it
didn't
got
make enough
destroyed
money.
between
The release date was
Marvels.
horrible.
Avengers.
Horribly placed.
Great movie though.
Yeah, really, a really solid movie.
Oh,
is there
man.
anything else anybody wants to talk about? 'Cause I wa-
Black Adam, Black Panther. Talked about Titans when Clay left.
Oh, thank
Yeah, we
God.
did.
Got your back, buddy.
Well, because I was just gonna bring
Jesus.
up, it's October.
Mhm.
It's the spoopy season. Anybody watch any good horror or Halloween movies this year?
Hell no.
I watched Scream 4, and then I was hoping to watch Scream 5 on Paramount Plus to find it already moved to Showtime. So
Yeah.
I'll have to wait a little bit longer for that. But I hadn't seen I've seen the first 3 movies so many different times, so I didn't need to redo that. So Scream 4, I was like, oh, it was okay. I'm looking more forward to Scream 5 because I've heard more positives about it. So
Scream 5 was a good one. Scream 4, like I watched it, forgot about it, and then watched it again recently, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what happens. I actually did that with another movie. It's called Boo. I watched it on Amazon Prime, and I had forgotten about that movie. Like I had erased it from my memory like so quickly after I watched it like 7 years ago that I started watching it at work, and I'm like, oh man, this looks really familiar. Oh, this looks really familiar. Oh shit, I watched this movie already. Oh well, I guess I'll keep going.
That's what happens to y'all old people.
That's right. That's
Bite
right. I haven't watched anything. I don't really watch like the holiday theme things that often. I'll probably watch at least some Hawkeye this Christmas time, but unless Werewolf by Night counts, which I did not
Just
watch
to
it
say,
for
I hope it
Halloween
counts
stuff.
because that was going to be mine.
It's all I got. I watched it twice. It's all I got. Werewolf by Night.
I mean, obviously,
Actually-
I watched a ton. You guys know. I mean, I did the whole
Yeah.
month
Watched a
of
little bit.
Patreon. For
Yeah, you
that.
did. Yeah.
That was
I
fun.
watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street 2 days ago.
Nice,
And that was not as bad as I thought. And a young Johnny Depp.
very young Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh
dang,
yeah.
forgot about you.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Heck, I think Kevin Bacon in the first Friday the
That's
13th.
Trimmers.
Second, I think,
Friday-
Joe.
No, Friday the 13th, I thought.
I
Oh,
think
might
it's
be in the first.
one.
Maybe in the first.
Yeah, he's in the first one.
In the original. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of like movie icons that are in these really bad horror films from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Everyone's got a mortgage to pay.
Yeah, they got to start somewhere.
I'm more a fan of Christmas episodes. Give me Lexmas, Smallville any day of the week. That was a fantastic episode of Smallville.
Yeah.
I will say this: I'm trying to figure out if I should do a Multiverse Minutes Christmas edition this year.
The die has been cast, Joe.
I
You better
mean,
just start putting it together now, man.
I told him I look
Well,
forward
but
to
that's the thing.
Multiverse
So
Minutes
here's-
for next year.
here's the
Halloween.
thing with the Halloween ones. I started watching all those at the beginning of September. I had
Okay, all right, you
half
can
of
have-
them recorded by the beginning of October.
there you
So
go.
it was
Being
just
ahead of the game.
Well, it was just one of those things where there was a few movies that I had to wait, like Hocus Pocus 2, My Best Friend's Exorcism, Spirit Halloween the movie. I had to wait till those came out, which didn't come out until October. So, but the rest of them they were on streaming services.
I'm genuinely impressed with what you have
Yeah.
pulled off.
Mhm.
Assuming you got something dropping tomorrow,
I
that
do.
You've pulled off, and so,
It's already up on the
Made
Patreon.
us all look terrible, Joe.
tomorrow.
Eh.
Yes, I did it.
They did it.
But, I mean, those also were just quick little hits, like
They're really enjoyable.
10, 15 minutes max. Just something
helped-
fun.
It helped me remember Paranormal Activities, all those movies. I tell you that much.
Dude.
Jesus.
The first two I liked. After that, they were The one
Yeah,
that Paramount Plus was just bad.
Yeah,
I think
imagine-
I've only seen 2, and I think the 2 that I've seen is Paranormal Activity 1 and then 4. Yeah.
That's fair. They
Don't
are
know
making
why.
another one, allegedly. It's supposed to connect. It's supposed to take place in the 90s, and it's supposed to
It's
connect.
supposed to like connect all of them, right?
Yeah. Well, they're all connected technically.
Yeah.
They all have follow Katie or whatever the hell her name is, or have something to do with her story. It except for the last one. The last one was its own little thing that just was weird.
You actually inspired me to possibly one day. I'm not going to make it to tomorrow, but at one point I will probably give that new Blair Witch a shot. At that point, I've seen
Good.
that. Well, that's yeah. You were the last person to kind of say that in your review that I'd heard that a number of times from, and I'm like, I've seen the first two. Yeah, the second one's a dumpster fire.
God, man. I watched that in theaters.
Didn't get sucked.
I did
into
too.
the second
I did
one.
too.
So, Joe, are
Dragon
you going
Ball
to do this for
Evolution in
Thanksgiving?
theaters.
All 3 movies that I know of.
It's like I can't think of that many Thanksgiving movies.
The Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and maybe like a Wishbone, or there's a Garfield.
I think
episode?
Knives
I
Out.
don't know.
I think Knives Out can count.
For Thanksgiving.
I got a final question for you guys
Go
before
ahead.
I get ready to leave.
Yeah.
What was the worst movie you've ever seen in theaters? And I will go first with Dragon Ball Evolution.
I will go because I've only walked out of one movie and demanded my money back at that point. It was in my younger high school days. Dude, Where's My Car?
Ooh.
I love that movie.
You walked out of Dude, Where's My Car?
I did.
Oh my God, Amberlynn
Oh.
is so disappointed in you.
No, I'm okay. I can live with that.
Oh, man.
I'm comfortable with that, and I'm very happy admitting that.
Anybody
fair.
watch Catwoman in theaters?
I walked into a
Still never
theater.
seen it.
Never saw Catwoman.
I walked into a theater of that happening, of it playing, and it was during the basketball scene, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, whatever, I'm out. Then I watched it for free. My dad had a burn copy of it. I would say the worst movie I ever saw in theaters was probably the Geely, the
Ooh.
Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez movie.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's rough.
I remember hating the Cable Guy, but I don't think I actually walked out. But I think that's the only time I ever seriously considered it.
I had to walk out of. I've only ever walked out of 2 movies, and both of them was because my daughter was getting kind of freaked out, and
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, no, done, let's go.
that's
Like, no big deal.
that's different though. That's
Yeah,
different.
that's
Yeah,
good.
I mean, it
That's
wasn't
being a good
willingly walked
dad.
out.
That's not
Um,
a sucky movie.
no, yeah. So yeah,
I don't know if I've ever walked out of a. Excuse me. I don't know if I've ever walked out of a movie. The worst movie that I have seen in theaters. God, I honestly could not tell you.
I
Like
think it's something
I-
with Kevin Hart.
All in the Game said Wild Wild West. I never saw that one.
That was a bad one as well. On the game, that mechanical.
Oh,
spot.
well, see,
in the middle
I
of it,
was-
Will Smith does this big side.
that was that mechanical spider was supposed to be in the Nicolas Cage Superman movie.
Darn right.
Just saying.
I will admit I was a kid when I watched Wild Wild West on DVD, and I loved that movie. as a kid. God, I don't know if I can like say, oh yeah, this is definitely a horrible movie. Because see, if I know that I probably will not like it, I just won't go see it. Like that's the thing for me.
Into the Fog was pretty bad too, or The Mist. Sorry, The Mist.
Well, hold on. The Mist?
The remake. I wasn't a fan of. I liked the original. Wasn't a fan of the remake.
So you're
Wait,
thinking
so
of
the one
Fog.
with Thomas Jane you did not like?
Yeah.
No, wait. Thomas Jane. Hold on. Okay, rewind.
Whoa.
The
Yeah.
Mist with Thomas Jane was the first movie. The Fog with Tom Welling was a remake.
No, not that at all.
'Cause that
Either
one
of
wasn't
those
the good.
Maybe it was called something else.
Oh, the
where he
Tom
kills-
Welling movie. Oh
where
my
he kills
god.
the people
I
and
completely
then the
forgot
army
about
shows
that
up.
one.
Where he kills the people that's with him, and then the army shows up like a minute later to take care
That's
of
the Mist. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was
Dude.
terrible.
No, what?
Yeah.
The first time I watched that movie, I like bawled and texted my ex-wife like, "Is Bella okay? Is everything okay?" Like
All I could think
she was like, "What the
all I
hell?"
could think, Joe, was you couldn't wait an extra 2 minutes.
Isn't it
So-
That's the
Sam
whole point of the
Witwer in that
movie.
movie too?
Is what?
What?
Sam Witwer's in that movie too, isn't it?
Yep, he gets killed pretty early.
Pretty early, yeah.
So this,
Um,
and then like half of the cast of Walking Dead's in there. The original cast of Walking Dead.
You know what? I will say this. In recent time, I think Bloodsport was probably one of the worst movies that I've seen
No, you're
in a
wrong.
while.
No, I love that movie.
With
Only
Vin
because
Diesel?
I went in there was making fun of it the entire time.
Okay.
Bloodsport
watch
was Vin. Did you say with Vin Diesel?
I don't know. I never. Wait, are you talking
Yeah.
about John Claude
Yeah.
Van Damme? He's not talking about John Claude Van Damme movie. That's
Bloodshot.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's two different
awesome.
ones.
You
No,
are
no,
Okay,
next.
I definitely went to the Van Damme movie. I forgot.
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
Brent. I think he's talking about the Vin Diesel
The
I
movie.
was like,
Bloodshot.
oh, that
not
movie is
Bloodsport,
great.
Bloodshot,
Yeah.
right? Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
right?
Bloodshot. Okay.
Bloodshot.
Bloodshot. Sorry, not
Okay.
Bloodsport. Sorry,
Okay,
sorry,
so-
Bloodsport was
Bloodshot.
wicked.
That's
Bloodshot.
Clay's
Yeah.
fault. That's on Clay.
Yeah, that's on me.
That's on
Bloodshot
Hines
was
for knowing what he meant when it was the wrong movie.
Now I will say, Bloodsport is fucking amazing. So
Yeah.
Okay,
Like-
all right, you can stay.
Oh man.
I was not allowed to watch Bloodsport at home because it was rated R, but that was not an issue at my buddy's house, and so I watched it over there, and I saw it. I saw it a couple times at his house, and then I've seen it since then. And ridiculous, sure, but I like it.
It's like Roadhouse for me. Same thing. Ridiculous.
House.
Do I enjoy it?
Roadhouse.
Yeah. Yep.
He
Don't
rips out
think
a
I've
guy's
seen
throat.
Roadhouse.
That's insane.
Oh man. Trying to think. I don't
Oh,
think there's. I can't think of any other. I know I've seen a bunch of terrible movies. Hell, I've watched
We all
half
That's a
of
good
for-
question. Like, people
Yeah.
have different definitions of terrible movie too, but Dragon
Mhm.
Ball Evolution was so
I
goddamn.
never saw it.
You're so-
I
watched that one on
the only
DVD.
reason I wouldn't say Dragon Ball Evolution is because I was working at a Cinemark at the time, and
I paid to
got
go
it for
watch that.
free. So I was just like, at least I didn't waste any money on this.
Clay, to get pumped for that, I watched some Dragon Ball Z videos.
That was your fault.
I'm sorry.
Never seen an episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
even
one
know how to
probably
tell
I
you the
won't ever
difference in
do.
quality. It's like I don't even know how to explain to you the difference in quality. There's no comparison I can make.
Oh
Alright.
man,
Anything else before
we
I
jump
think-
off? I don't think so.
Can't think of anything.
all right. Well, we didn't have any patrons joined, but we'll continue to do this at that point. Hopefully some of y'all
Next
again,
time it'll be on StreamYard.
Maybe.
No, it won't.
Next time is that's when we're gonna have 10 people. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, but yeah, so when that'll be, we'll kind of alter times. This was a time that afternoons, we may do an evening one next time, but be on the lookout for when we decide that. And but everyone give the people where they can follow you.
Follow me on Twitter at Travis_156. You can drop me a line. We can chat about pretty much anything.
Clay.
You can find me at Fanboy Clay on Twitter. Go to my bio. You can find the link tree to all the shows that I host. Coming back full time on the 7th for Ranger Alliance.
Oh, yeah, I gotta get
then,
back
of
to you on
course,
that one.
that week will be, of course, Star Wars Alliance as well. Me and Katie are planning a book review because we have gotten these amazing books in advance now.
Ooh.
So We will be planning that out in the next week, as well as nearing the finale of Andor. So looking forward to it.
You guys
Joe?
can find me on Twitter at _actually_. You can find my shows, A Walk Through the Multiverse, on Twitter at WalkTheVerse, and my other show, Comic Book Rundown, on Twitter at Comic Rundown, and on Instagram at Comic Book Rundown.
And last but not least, Brent.
Brentech Prime, Twitter, TikTok, Marvel Alliance. That's where I'm at.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Chris Balga, and my other show, World's Finest True Believers, at Finest Believers, and then Marvel Alliance at Marvel A Podcast. So this is the October crossover, and we will see you sometime next month. See you later, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.